And good afternoon and welcome to Julie Hall Designs, Locked in Stitches and our Sunday afternoon stitch along. As always, my name is Julie Hall and I'm happy to be with you here this afternoon. So I hope everybody's having a great weekend. Things are actually starting to get a little warmer here in Canberra, which is quite nice. Sorry, I'm just editing my screen that I can see as I go live here, just so that I can see the colours. And you can see here, I'm just giving you a quick view of our Christmas train. And this is my Aussie Animals Santa train. Loving how it's turned out. You'll see I've got a koala, dingo, kiwi, echidna, kookaburra, emu and kangaroo there on the train, as well as Santa, and the caboose is the Christmas tree. And good afternoon, Trish. I hope you're doing well. I've also got my Christmas tree skirt there. I just didn't have enough time to hang that one up today, but it is looking fabulous and I'm so happy with the way it is coming along. Thank you very much to everybody who has been posting pictures, particularly, and I'm just going to come in and show you what Michelle Reynolds has put up there. And on her next stage, maybe I'm seeing the wrong thing here, loving how those little guys turned out. Michelle, I know you posted for me somewhere what today's row looks like for you. And if you get a chance, if you could post that again, that would be great. It would also help if I showed on the monitor what I was looking at. So Michelle posted for me what the second row finished of the quilt looked like, and I still find it fascinating that you've got that same fabric there as I had all of those years ago. And that was the close-up then of your toy soldiers. Okay, so what we are going to do today is Rudolph, and I'm going to do the word celebrate, and I'm going to do the holly. Now, if you are doing, and I'm just going to come in and zoom in on a photo. If you are doing the entire quilt, the differences are on this one that as well as the Rudolph, you will be doing the Faith Star and Love and Celebrate. So you're getting the same amount done, just at a slightly different timing. Okay, now if I come to my machine here and my fabrics, you'll see I've picked up which fabrics I want to use today, and I've got a yellowy orange and a bright blue. Now, what I want to point out with these fabrics is, because if you're anything like me, you'll find you've got scraps of fabric that don't quite fit into a good hooping. And that's what we've got here. You'll see it's just getting into the sides, but it's not a great way of holding it together like it is, say, on this one. And the reason I want to point that out is because I've created a new basting stitch, and I'm putting out a how-to this week, but you can actually go and download the basting stitch now. And I can see we've got Lisa Callum, hello, and Suzanne Cook, thank you for coming along. Barbara Evans, welcome, thank you so much. Just to fill you guys in, last week I did end up taking the week off. I had a chemo treatment, and whilst I've been reacting really, really well, last week just left me really tired, and I've got, bruises right over my my arms from them trying to find veins on me. And I can see Tracy Gardner's there as well. Hello. Okay, so today I'm going to work on, I'm going to start off with Rudolph, and I'm going to get creative because in my cleanup I found this scrap of brown vinyl, and I found this scrap of cork. And I thought the silver kind of just looks like a little bit of snow. So my Rudolph is going to have been in the snow. And what I've done here, and again, what you can see, and I'll just, is my fabric is within the stitching area, but it's really not within the hooping area. So what I've done is I've loaded up my wash away thread, and I've altered the standard basting stitch. So as well as going around the design, it's going to give us a diagonal. And what that means is that fabric is just going to hold so much more securely. Now, I've done all of the major hoops that I can think of, and they are now available for download on my free design page. You can also, if I'm missing a hoop size, just let me know and I will add it. Okay, so now I'm going to start, and to start with, it kind of doesn't matter what colour we add in. So I'm just going to thread up my machine. And I kind of wish I had enough of this scrap to do the actual Rudolph body, but I know that I don't. Whoa! You can see I was doing normal stitching last night. And Pauline Stewart, good afternoon. Emily Turner, hi, how are you going? So the first thing I've got is the antlers. And because there's so many curves and intricate cuts in that, I'm just going to take the hoop out and then do my stitching away. How's everybody else's week been? Anybody get up to anything exciting? Very exciting day in our house this week. Camo went back to school and tomorrow the girls join. So as of tomorrow, I will only have my darling husband at home annoying me. Kathy Dillion from Kentucky in the US, thank you. Suzanne Cook. Spent lots of money on a new lounge and bed. Oh, I need a new bed. The last time I bought a new mattress was in 2009. It was going to be a this year thing to do. May end up being a next year thing to do. Now, one of the things that I do love about these designs is they really are, because they are so whimsical, there's not a lot of stitches in them. And when I say that, when I was looking at the what was I doing last night? The cinema for the boutique series. I had 48 colour changes. Now, a lot of that's just because there's so many different pieces. But comparatively speaking, hubby was very excited though. He got to go to Bunnings this morning. Okay. Sorry if all you're seeing is my arm, guys. I just want to get this little guy as well cut out as I can. So the first half of my week was really taken up by the Christmas train. And it's really funny when somebody gives you an idea, things just really take hold. And Suzanne, I think it was you who'd given me the idea of the train in the first place. And then Michelle Reynolds entered into that, that she liked the idea, or that she loved the idea of some Aussie animals. And what I love is how quickly it all came together, and it's been really surprising because then this week I've had a couple of different people send me some ideas that are just phenomenal. Lisa Callum, you had a brilliant idea that had me up thinking well into the early hours of this morning. I didn't do anything about it, but I thought about it. Okay, so that is all of our applique fabric. So how nice and easy is that so far? Then we can come through and start adding our threads. Suzanne's back into the office after lockdown. Are you excited about that? It's a really interesting thing, I think. Hubbies, they're not even asking for a return to work plan yet, which I find quite interesting. No, not really, I get that. I'd love to be on the road doing craft shows, but I'm in no great rush to see Ed go back to work. I really want the kids back at work, back at school, but I'm in no great rush to see Edward go back at the moment. Now, you know, if he ticks me off this week, it might be different, but oh, look, the noise, they're having to be masked up. After our class this afternoon, I will be making masks for the next couple of hours, making sure that the kids have each got a couple of masks to continue on with. Hubby's been wearing the one that I've made for him all week, whenever he goes out, and so now I can make another couple for him, and it's great because when I cleaned up, I found heaps of like different sci-fi fabrics that I've collected over the years. So we'll have a Doctor Who, we'll have a couple of Star Wars, there's a superhero one. Oh wow, Suzanne's got no masks in the office. Okay. What state are you in, Suzanne? Oh wow, in New South Wales. Yeah, no, we've still got fully masked in classrooms. Camo was really surprised when he went back to school this week. One kid cleared his throat and got sent home. Pauline's asking what pattern I'm using to make the masks. It's not actually an in the hoop one. I'll show you what my pattern is. I got it off YouTube. You know, all good things. And let me find the actual... Okay, that was it. So, if I come into my monitor, and it was a 3D face mask, we've just got to get past the Whittaker's ad. Oh, good heavens, come on. Okay, so, and I'll paste a link if you'd like. And forget about drawing up your own, you can actually download the pattern. So let me just paste the link and then I'll show you a picture. Okay. So they were really quick to make after I'd made the first one, and I like the fact that it worked with Ed's glasses. The only issue that I had was because Ed's got a really wide face and then the beard as well. I've had to, not that one, we want that one. I've had to enlarge it to take that into account. But for camo and the kids, I mean, I've just cut them out and then just really zipped them together, sort of a thing. And I got really, really slack with the elastics. Spotlight, of course, wasn't open, couldn't be bothered waiting, so I just cut the elastics off the single-use face masks. I enlarged it by 1 inch, which was 2 inches down and 2 inches across by the time you publish the pattern. And that gives him enough space to open his mouth when, because that was the big thing, because he's got a broad face, all of the masks, as soon as he'd open his mouth, they'd ride up. What else did I achieve this week? I did get the next one ready to go up at the end of this week. The 2 to Tango zip purse, which is a replica of the restaurant. And my favourite bit, I just got to find my photo now. Okay. I got the double-story buildings finished from the boutique series. So now I've only got 3 more to go, and that's all 12 of my buildings done. So yesterday was the cinema, and I'm so happy with the way that turned out. And I'm loving how they all look together. Now, once again, you do not have to use cork. I just had a scrap of cork, and I figured why not use it up. On my original, I obviously used fabrics, and that worked really well as well. And I think I was using hand dyeds at the time. Now, the other thing, whilst I'm here and thinking, is what colours am I going to use to stitch my wording on? So, I've got blue there, and I'm almost thinking that the pink might be the way to go for the blue. And I'm thinking of doing something different with the holly and doing it a slightly different shade of green. One of the things that I'm hoping for is something just that little bit different in each block, just showing that it's, just taking different textures and everything, and I think that colour compared to the darker colour might be a nice contrast. I do like this guy though, he's such a little chunky monkey. I'm desperately trying to use up this brown thread, and I've certainly got enough to do this project, and probably a couple more. But it's one of those ones. It's a beautiful colour, but it's a crappy thread. So Suzanne, you're back at work. What else is everyone else up to? Now remember, the joy of Locked in Stitches is you can always watch afterwards. So never fear that you are going to miss out. Alternatively, just quit your job, Suzanne, surely stitching is more important. Now I did forget, there was one other thing that I've been working on this week, and it's for the Great International Craft Show, and it's a project that I will be, that is the downside, isn't it? You need the money from working, but you don't need the time that it takes. So what I'll be presenting in the Great International Craft Show Evenings with collection this week is this brilliant journal. So using felt, and that really nice thick luscious felt, and the 3-ring A5 binder clip that we will be selling later on this week, I have made a journal or diary cover, and all I've done is I've gone on to Etsy and bought the pages Officeworks have these great zip envelopes for anything that you might need to cart around. And then I've even had space to pop in my notebook, and I made a pen holder as well. So on Thursday evening, I'm going to be showing how we did that, and then we will be giving the beautiful peacock feather away as a free design. And Suzanne, that's exactly right. Everybody has to make that decision themselves. So now we're on his head. Can you believe, like, there's only like 62, 61 days till Christmas? That's phenomenal, isn't it? Whilst we have all been locked down, the year itself has gone incredibly quickly. I really have to get my finger out this week and get some Christmas sewing done. So yeah, in 62 days I will have 2 16-year-olds, so all of my children will be age appropriate to drive, which is just terrifying. Now, Lisa Callum, I know you have quite a young daughter. what's on her Santa list this year. What do the young people want? And you can see on this, there is very little pull on the design because of the basting stitch that we've used. And our next colour is going to be black for his facial details and his little hooves. Oh, that's the worst thing when it's birthdays and Christmases near each other. I'm sort of getting a little bit optimistic at the moment that I might make it to Sydney for Christmas. Doesn't it just look so beautiful stitching away though? It takes me a while, but I've just noticed that that didn't trim away properly. fine. No matter how many threads they've got, you've never quite got the perfect one for whatever project you're about to do. Naturally, never trim whilst the machine's working. I like with his little eyebrows the way they are. He looks like such a worried little Rudolph. Now this is another one that would just look great on a little shirt. Oh, that was something that I saw this week that I thought could make a really cool project, and maybe even a cutwork project for next year. Let me see if I can find a picture of it. It is a fake shirt bottom, and I love the idea that I could add details like to really basic crappy clothing and make, you know, that jumper that doesn't quite cover my butt. So I thought that could be a kind of cool idea. And the other one that I loved was then they had, but perhaps I lie, then they had the collar version as well. But I love the sort of t-shirt version just to put over And yeah, you know, in different styles and things. I just think that's kind of a cool idea. Called a shirt extender. Oh, I like that. I like that there's even a name for it. Yes, my butt needs covering. Even reindeers deserve necklaces. And how cute would a little couple of Hot Fix crystals then look on this? Whoops. Sorry about that, guys. We've got our nose and our holly berries, which of course have to be red. You know, I don't want to be too judgy, but the only reindeer that counts is Rudolph. His nose might be slightly large. He might be on the waiting list for a bit of rhinoplasty. last minute of stitching. Take that out and just do that final trim. So design 1 is finished, and now I'm going to load up to stitch out my celebrate word. So I have to, of course, come through and get the right design. And then make sure I've got the right hoop size on there for that design. And remembering that I'm going to use this great pink, and I just love this blue. I think it's a really beautiful color blue fabric. It's very clear. Now, this fabric is the one that is suitably hooped all through. So I actually don't need to do the basting stitch with this one. Instead, I can just come through and do the regular stitching. I'm often fascinated by how the machine breaks down stitching of things like words. For me at the moment it's hard to almost see the letter C in this design. I'm getting there now. So what you can see here is my Rudolph is finished, and what I'm loving is normally there would be a lot of pull around the bottom here simply because of the number of stitches here on the hooves. But because of that basting, we really don't have that. So there's none of that sucking in that we would normally find. What has happened with this fabric is I wasn't great at planning, and what I've done is I've got plenty of room there, but I'm missing a tiny little bit of room. Oops, guys. Up here. So what I'm going to do, it's not a problem, what I'm going to do is cut off a corner on each side and stitch it on here, and that will become then part of the fabric as I cut it out. Most of that's going to go into the seam allowance, but I just want it there to give me a better all over look. I still wanted to use this fabric even though it was a little bit small, because it's the fabric that I've used all around the design, and I've only got a certain number of pieces of it left. I sort of cut out enough to get me through this project. Isn't it amazing, the jumping between 500 and 600 stitches a minute? 500 is just such a smoother look for you guys being able to see. And that pink's working out really nice on that. So after my week off last week, we are back to in our Locked in Stitches group this week. Doing the triptych. So whether you watch us on catch up or live, we'll be talking a lot about metallic thread and how to use them to the best effect, and how to, of course, use them without them totally stuffing up. This was really the first project that I'd used a lot of metallic in, and I just loved the final results. So that is my Celebrate done. And now I can come through and load up our final design. Excuse me, that is my son. Hi darling, I'm in a live, but I'll send Dad down. Right. Excuse me for one moment, and please excuse the yelling you're about to hear. Honey, are you there? Oh, who doesn't forget a kid? Okay, so our holly leaf. And select, of course, the smallest hoop possible, which for me is the 140 by 140. And so remember, this is the hoop where we're only just in the project. But notice that I've got the stabilizer around all of it, and that becomes important when you are basting. And I've got my wash away thread, and I'm going to come through and baste that fabric into the hoop. Once again, if you're looking for a subtle nod to Christmas, this holly leaf is probably one of those great ones to be able to do. Just because it's not totally in your face. So if you need a, shirt with just something on the side, this would be a good one. And we're going to outline where that leaf is going to go. Now you know you've picked a good colour thread when you actually can't see where the stitches are going. Unfortunately, that also makes an absolute bugger for trimming away. And this is one of those ones that to get it actually well trimmed, I actually need to take off my my glasses so that I can see the close-up detail. what's everyone doing for dinner tonight? We are getting spoiled with tacos with fresh salsa and all the good stuff from our daughter Emma. I decided to make it easy on myself for most of the week. I sent Edward out yesterday to get a nice big leg of lamb, and that will do us for 3 meals. So therefore, for most of the week, oh, how frustrated was I last week? Somebody's broken into our car. I think it must have been one afternoon when I'd had the door, not the door open, but the door unlocked because the kids had been getting groceries in, and stolen our glasses. And, you know, I could understand if they were, you know, Ray-Bans or something like that. But they were all, so they were both prescription. So it's incredibly frustrating. Knowing that they would have just thrown them away more than likely. Hey Pauline, you're back with us. Okay. So that's my Celebrate finished. And I think that's got a nice pop to it. I'm quite happy with the way that is looking. Yeah, Kathy, I agree. I think the colours just look really good in it. It just kind of works. Yes, after this it might be cuppa time for me. Cuppa and something for lunch. I stayed up till about 4 this morning. Not totally through choice. I was nearly asleep and Edward's got a bad back at the moment. He rolled over and he elbowed me in the shoulder so hard that I woke up and then I couldn't get back to sleep. So I came out and did some work and some prep for today's class. And then sort of slept in from 5 till 11. So it might be lunchtime when I'm done. Lunchtime and a cuppa. But it's a beautiful day outside today. It's not totally, like it's only 16 degrees. but there's a really nice breeze out there and it's just nice. Pauline's the same. You had a non-sleeping night as well. Not good. I'll take Camo tomorrow for his final COVID jab. And then we sat there looking at the diary for the next couple of months, trying to decide when we would attempt to get down to Melbourne to go and see Edward's mother, when we would take holidays, if we were going to do anything for holidays, and that was a half a day of futility. Spent time looking up all the different caravans, etc., and knowing that it was late in the day, and we knew that, but some of the prices that places are charging. I mean, I realise it's been a tough year and they now need to make their money, but good heavens. So we're thinking we might, after Christmas, we've got our my niece's wedding reception from June on Boxing Day, hopefully, and then after that we're thinking we might stay in Sydney for a day or two, for a couple of days, and just do some of the Sydney things, like go up to Mount Tomah and do a nice walk and picnic through the Botanic Gardens. And oh, Pauline, you're down at Lakes Entrance, aren't you? That would be very cool, actually. I didn't even check Lakes Entrance, actually. I should possibly do that. My issue is I don't camp, so I'm a cabin kind of a gal. Paynesville, I think that's somewhere along the way, isn't it? But the next holiday that we're able to have is my turn to take my father and my 3 younger nieces as well. And he caravans and tents. Like, Dad at his age is just, I think he's 76. At his age, like, 2 teenagers and a 9-year-old are just too much for him to deal with. But he still wants to take them away because he feels very guilty that his son had issues and has passed away. So my sister and I kind of like to share things between us. And due to the fact that she's done all the work during COVID. Although I have a feeling I can actually drive up to Sydney. Now, so I'm thinking of, even if it's just for a night or so, just going up so that I can see my dad face to face. I love the way this holly leaf comes out. I think it really is just beautiful. It's like when we considered looking at trying to schedule in a trip down to Melbourne with so that we can see Edward's mother, who's in a care home down there. And so we sat there during lunch last week and got the diary out, and it's like, okay, so if we can, I think we need to do this. Having said that, I don't want to go into the nursing home in my immune compromised state. So, you know, it might be that we sit outside with her if it's a nice day and have lunch. Or if we can take her for a drive somewhere. But then it's, okay, well, if we're going to go down to Melbourne, this is the other stuff that I want to do while I'm down there. And yeah, you know, the other stuff's always the fun stuff. I need to see a fabric shop, I need to see a thread shop, I need to catch up with a friend here. We'll take the car down, so I'm going to need this and I'm going to need that. My mother-in-law is in Monash Gardens on Wellington Road. So she brought her family up around Dandenong Way, and then they retired up to Balan near Ballarat, and she had, about 3 years ago, what was fundamentally a mental breakdown and some health issues, but she was such, there's no nice way to say it, she was such a pain in the arse with the mental issues that the nursing home up there didn't want to accept both her and my father-in-law. So since then, my father-in-law has actually passed away, but we had put her into Monash Gardens by then, and she's doing a lot better. Like, the medication that they've got her on is doing a lot better, but she just doesn't understand at 87 years old why we can't go and visit her. And I know she's not going to understand why I won't go in and see her. So I'm figuring if we either take her, if I can just walk in and walk out to one of the outdoor areas all masked, then I'd be kind of happy with that. Okay, and the last two colours are the berries of the holly leaf, using, of course, some mylar. So we do the undercoating first. And I've got my mylar ready. On the upside, I have been having conversations on the first couple of Craft Alive shows that are coming out next year. So and if craft shows aren't a good reason to get backed, I don't know what is. Okay, so they haven't put the date up there. Okay, it looks like they're only telling us, as in the stall holders. But I know that we are getting dates out there for Newcastle and for coming up are dates for Queensland and where else was there? Wagga. If anyone is in the Wagga region, I know is going to be coming up. So I am very excited about getting on the road again. Okay, so I take my mylar. Now I could use a different shade of red, or I can even pop a little bit of yellow in if I wanted to. I'm just going to keep the same red shade. Because it still looks so different with that over it. that one is finished. And it's only when you see it, even outside of that hooped area, that you really get the detail of the mylar stitching and the vinyl. So I'm really happy with how that's come out. And again, because of that basting stitch, there is none of that extra pull there that you would normally find. Okay, so the last thing that I did want to show you before we go is, and I just need to find, okay, so here we have the 2 panels that we've got left in our project. Now, if you have a look at them here, you'll see that we actually do 2 Rudolphs and 2 puddings. So if you have the time, get your 2 Rudolphs done together, and then that's out of the way. But the ones to concentrate on this week is the word faith, love, and celebrate. Next week, we're going to do Rudolph with the sleigh, and that will be our next stitch out. So, until then, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great afternoon and a lovely dinner tonight before you start your week off. Until next week,